Pippa's unexpected adventure. Pippa the penguin loved sliding on the ice and swimming in the freezing ocean with her friends. One day, she got caught in a strong current and drifted far, far away. When she finally washed ashore, she found herself in a strange, warm place. Everything was green, not white, and the sun was much brighter than she was used to. Scared and confused, Pippa wandered around until she found herself in a bustling town. The sight of her waddling down the street surprised everyone. A group of children noticed her and immediately gathered around. "Look, it's a penguin," a girl named Lily exclaimed. "What's it doing here?" asked a boy named Max. "It must be lost," said another girl, Emily. "We need to help it get home." The children brought Pippa to their school, where they made her a cozy bed of ice in the science lab. They fed her fish and learned all about penguins from their teacher. They even built a cardboard igloo for Pippa to feel more at home. After a few days, the children contacted a wildlife rescue center. They learned that Pippa was thousands of miles away from her home in Antarctica. With the help of the rescue center, the children said goodbye to Pippa as she boarded a special plane to take her back to her icy home. Pippa never forgot the kindness of the children who helped her. She knew that even in the most unexpected places, there are always good people willing to lend a helping flipper.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Rusty's Big City Adventure. Rusty the raccoon had always lived in the quiet forest. He loved climbing trees, searching for berries, and playing with his fellow raccoons. But one day, a storm knocked down his home, and Rusty found himself lost and alone. He wandered for days until he reached a strange place, a bustling city filled with tall buildings, noisy cars, and bright lights. Rusty was scared and confused, but he was also curious. He had never seen anything like this before. Rusty started to explore the city, cautiously at first. He found food scraps in overflowing trash cans and made a cozy bed in a hidden alleyway. He even made a few friends, like Whiskers the alley cat and Scruffy the stray dog. Rusty quickly adapted to city life. He learned to navigate the busy streets, avoid the grumpy humans, and find the best spots for food. He even started to enjoy the hustle and bustle of the city, the constant activity and the never-ending surprises. But as the days turned into weeks, Rusty started to miss the peace and quiet of the forest. He longed for the sound of the wind rustling through the leaves and the smell of pine needles. He missed his raccoon family and friends. One day, while scavenging for food, Rusty found a map that led to a park on the edge of the city. He followed the map, his heart pounding with excitement. As he entered the park, he saw a familiar sight: tall trees, green grass, and a small stream. Rusty had found a little piece of the forest in the middle of the city. He knew he could never go back to his old life, but he was happy to have found a new home where he could be himself.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Sarah and the time-traveling penny. Sarah found a shiny penny on her way home from school. It wasn't just any penny, though. This penny glowed with a strange energy. When she picked it up, the world around her swirled, and suddenly, Sarah found herself in a bustling marketplace. But it wasn't her town's market. The people wore strange clothes, and the food stalls were filled with exotic items she had never seen before. The penny hummed in her hand. A voice whispered, "Solve the riddle of the missing scroll, and the path home will be revealed." Sarah was bewildered but intrigued. She began exploring the market, asking questions and piecing together clues. An old merchant told her a story of a hidden scroll with the power to alter time. With a jolt, Sarah understood. The scroll must be the key to returning home. She followed the clues, navigating through winding alleys and secret passageways, until she found herself in a hidden chamber. There, nestled in a velvet box, was the scroll. Sarah carefully touched it, and the world swirled again. She was back in her own time, the penny no longer glowing. She held the penny close, realizing it was more than just a coin. It was a reminder of the incredible adventures she had, and the importance of solving problems with curiosity and determination.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Snowy's Winter Wonderland. One crisp winter morning, a snowman named Snowy blinked his eyes open. He was no longer just a pile of snow, he was alive. He wiggled his carrot nose, stretched his stick arms, and hopped off his snowy perch. Snowy was eager to explore the winter wonderland around him. He slid down a hill on his belly, laughing as the snowflakes tickled his face. He made snow angels with his arms and legs, leaving his mark on the pristine snow. Snowy met a group of children building a snow fort. They welcomed him with open arms and invited him to join their snowball fight. Snowy had so much fun throwing snowballs and dodging them. He even helped build a snow sculpture of a majestic dragon. As the sun began to set, Snowy felt a chill in the air. He knew that his time in the winter wonderland was limited. He watched as the children went home, their laughter fading in the distance. Snowy sat down on a snowbank, watching the snowflakes fall gently around him. He knew that he would eventually melt away, but he was grateful for the wonderful experiences he had. He had made new friends, discovered the joy of play, and experienced the beauty of winter firsthand. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Snowy closed his eyes, a smile on his face. He knew that his adventure was coming to an end, but the memories he had made would last forever.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Chip's Big Adventure. Chip was a tiny robot with a big heart and an even bigger dream. He lived in a cluttered workshop with his creator, Mr. Tinker, and longed to explore the world beyond their dusty windows. One day, while Mr. Tinker was napping, Chip mustered his courage and ventured out. The world outside was a whirlwind of sights and sounds. Chip marveled at the towering trees, the chirping birds, and the buzzing bees. But he also felt lost and alone. As he wandered through a field of flowers, he met a friendly ladybug named Dot. Dot was impressed by Chip's shiny metal body and curious about his adventures. Chip told her about his dream of exploring the world, and Dot offered to help. Together, they set off on a journey, meeting new friends along the way. They met a wise old owl who taught them about the stars, a playful squirrel who shared his knowledge of the forest, and a group of ants who showed them the importance of teamwork. With each encounter, Chip learned valuable lessons about friendship, perseverance, and the importance of following one's dreams. He discovered that his true purpose was not just to explore the world but also to connect with others and make a difference. By the time Chip returned to the workshop, he was no longer just a tiny robot with a big dream. He was a seasoned adventurer with a heart full of gratitude and a head full of memories. And he knew that his adventures were far from over.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Stripes' Secret Swim. Stripes, a playful tiger cub, had heard whispers of a secret swimming pond. The older tigers would disappear into the jungle, returning refreshed and happy. Stripes was curious. He wanted to find this magical pond and experience it for himself. One sunny afternoon, Stripes slipped away from his family while they were napping. He followed the faint scent of water, his heart pounding with excitement. He pushed through dense foliage and hopped over fallen logs, his stripes blending perfectly with the sunlight filtering through the leaves. But as he ventured deeper into the jungle, Stripes realized he was lost. The familiar scents were gone, replaced by unfamiliar smells and sounds. He called out for his family, but only the echo of his own voice answered. Fear started to creep into Stripes' heart. He was alone, in a part of the jungle he didn't recognize. He curled up under a large tree, tears welling up in his eyes. Just when Stripes thought all hope was lost, he heard a rustling in the bushes. A wise old monkey emerged, its eyes twinkling with kindness. Stripes explained his predicament, and the monkey offered to help. The monkey led Stripes through the winding jungle paths, pointing out landmarks and sharing stories along the way. Finally, they reached the secret swimming pond. It was a beautiful oasis, surrounded by lush greenery and blooming flowers. Stripes jumped into the cool water, splashing and playing with joy. He realized that even though he had been scared, he had also been brave. He had faced the unknown and found his way back with the help of a new friend.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Book of Whispers. On his 10th birthday, Alex received a special gift from his grandfather, a worn, leather-bound book with no title. His grandfather told him it was his favorite book when he was a boy, and now it was Alex's turn to cherish it. Curious, Alex opened the book, but the pages were blank. Disappointed, he was about to close it when he heard a faint whisper. He held his breath and listened closer. The book was talking to him. The book told Alex that it was called the Book of Whispers and that it had the power to transport him to any story he wished. Alex was amazed. He had always loved stories, and now he could actually live them. He carefully turned the pages, and the book whispered stories of pirates sailing the seven seas, knights battling dragons, and princesses trapped in towers. Alex chose a story about a hidden jungle treasure, and suddenly, he found himself surrounded by lush greenery and exotic animals. He embarked on an exciting adventure, following clues and solving riddles. He swung across vines, befriended a talking parrot, and even outsmarted a mischievous monkey. Finally, he found the treasure, a chest overflowing with gold coins and sparkling jewels. But as Alex reached for the treasure, the book whispered again. The true treasure is the journey, not the destination. Alex looked around at the beautiful jungle, the friendly animals, and the memories he had made. He realized that the book was right. The real treasure was the adventure itself, not the material rewards. With a smile, Alex closed the book and returned to his room. He knew that he had a special gift, a gateway to endless possibilities. And he couldn't wait to explore all the wonderful stories hidden within its pages.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Adventures of Max the Puppy. Max the puppy loved exploring the world around him. Every morning, he would eagerly follow his owner, Lily, on their walks through the park, his tail wagging with excitement. He would chase squirrels, sniff flowers, and greet other dogs with a friendly bark. One sunny afternoon, Max spotted a particularly interesting butterfly fluttering through the park. He chased after it, his nose glued to the ground, and quickly lost sight of Lily. When he looked up, he was all alone in the middle of the park, surrounded by unfamiliar sights and sounds. Max whimpered, feeling scared and lost. He ran back and forth, sniffing the ground, hoping to catch Lily's scent. But all he could smell was the sweet aroma of the flowers and the damp earth. He barked loudly, hoping Lily would hear him, but no one answered. As the sun began to set, Max curled up under a tree, feeling sad and lonely. He missed Lily's warm hugs and gentle scratches behind his ears. Just as he was about to give up hope, he heard a familiar voice calling his name. Max, where are you? Max jumped up, his tail wagging furiously. He barked excitedly and ran towards the sound of Lily's voice. In a few moments, he was in Lily's arms, licking her face and wagging his tail so hard it looked like it might fall off. Lily held Max close, feeling relieved and happy to have found him. She knew she would never let him out of her sight again.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Amazing Adventures of Max and the Stardust. Max wasn't like other 8-year-olds. He built robots out of spare parts and solved complicated math problems in his head. But his true passion was space. He dreamed of exploring distant planets and discovering new galaxies. One day, while tinkering in his attic laboratory, Max stumbled upon a mysterious glowing rock. It was a piece of stardust, and it held a secret power. When Max held it, he could understand the language of the stars. Using this newfound knowledge, Max built a spaceship. He named it the Stardust Explorer after the rock that had inspired him. With his trusty robot sidekick, Max set off on an incredible journey through the cosmos. They visited planets made of candy, met friendly aliens who could change colors, and even flew through a swirling vortex of stardust. Max learned so much about the universe, but most importantly, he learned about himself. When he returned home, Max was no longer just a genius inventor. He was a space adventurer, a pioneer, a hero. And he knew that his adventures were far from over. With the stardust by his side, the possibilities were endless.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Cloud Castle Mystery. One day, while exploring the forest behind her house, Ellie stumbled upon an old, weathered bridge. It seemed to disappear into the clouds above. Curiosity piqued, Ellie carefully stepped onto the bridge, her heart pounding with excitement. As she walked, the bridge began to ascend, lifting her higher and higher into the sky. The clouds swirled around her, soft and cool against her skin. Ellie held her breath as the bridge finally connected to a magnificent castle, seemingly floating amidst the clouds. The castle was made of shimmering white stone, with towers tall as mountains. Ellie cautiously stepped inside, her eyes wide with wonder. The halls were lined with portraits of kings and queens, and the walls were adorned with tapestries depicting epic battles and magical creatures. Ellie wandered through the castle, discovering hidden chambers and secret passageways. She found a library filled with ancient books, a ballroom with sparkling chandeliers, and a throne room with a velvet cushioned seat fit for a queen. As the sun began to set, Ellie realized she had to return home. She retraced her steps across the cloud bridge, her mind buzzing with questions. Who had built this incredible castle? Why was it hidden in the clouds? And would she ever be able to return? Back in her own world, Ellie couldn't stop thinking about the cloud castle. She knew it held secrets waiting to be discovered, and she was determined to find a way back.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Great Treehouse Project. Billy had a dream. It was a big dream, a dream that reached high into the branches of the old oak tree in his backyard. He wanted to build a treehouse, the best treehouse ever. Billy drew plans and designs, imagining all the cool things his treehouse would have: a rope ladder, a secret trapdoor, and a lookout point where he could see for miles. But first, he needed to gather the materials. Billy started by collecting scrap wood from the garage, old nails from the toolbox, and discarded planks from the shed. He even asked his neighbors if they had any spare materials he could use. It wasn't easy. Some days, Billy felt discouraged. He didn't have enough wood, the nails were too rusty, and the planks were too heavy to carry. But he didn't give up. He woke up early each morning, ready to tackle the next challenge. He learned to measure and saw, to hammer and nail. He even figured out how to hoist the heavy planks up into the tree with a pulley system. Slowly but surely, the treehouse began to take shape. The floorboards were laid, the walls went up, and the roof started to cover it all. Billy was proud of his work. He had faced obstacles and overcome them, and he was closer to his dream than ever before. He knew there was still a long way to go, but he was excited for the journey. After all, building the treehouse was just as much fun as playing in it would be.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Max and the Melting Mystery. Max lived in Choco Town, a delicious place where everything was made of chocolate. He loved his chocolate house with its gummy bear windows and pretzel doorknob. But one day, while playing by the chocolate river, Max noticed something strange. The river was shrinking. Concerned, Max decided to investigate. He followed the river upstream, carefully stepping over melting marshmallows and candy rocks. The chocolate trees seemed to droop, and the licorice vines looked limp. Everything was drying up. Max reached the source of the river, a giant chocolate fountain. But instead of gushing chocolate, it was barely dripping. Max noticed that the fountain was clogged with candy wrappers and ice cream cones. Without hesitation, Max started cleaning. He pulled out wrappers, scooped up cones, and cleared away the mess. Slowly, the fountain began to flow again, first a trickle, then a stream, and finally a gushing river of chocolate. Max raced back to Choco Town, his heart pounding. He watched as the river filled up, the trees perked up, and the vines twirled back to life. He had saved his chocolatey home all by himself. As the sun set, Max sat by the river, sipping on a chocolate milkshake. He smiled, knowing that Chocotown was safe and sound, thanks to his quick thinking and determination.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The curious little starfish. On a sandy beach, there lived a little starfish named Sparky. Sparky was very curious. He loved to explore the tide pools and watch the colorful fish darting around. One day, he saw a big shell washed up on the shore. What could be inside? Sparky wondered. He wriggled his arms and scooted closer to the shell. Carefully, he peeked inside. To his surprise, he saw a tiny crab hiding. The crab was scared and scuttled further into the shell. Sparky gently nudged the shell with his arm. "Don't be afraid," Sparky said. "I won't hurt you. I just want to be friends." The crab slowly poked his head out. He saw Sparky's friendly smile and felt a little braver. He crawled out of the shell and shook Sparky's arm with his claw. They both giggled and became the best of friends. Sparky and the crab spent the rest of the day playing in the tide pools. They chased each other around the rocks and shared stories about their underwater adventures. As the sun set, Sparky knew he had found a friend for life.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Incredible Shrinking Adventure. Alex loved his toy car collection. He had all sorts of cars, from sleek sports cars to rugged trucks. But his favorite was a bright red convertible with a shiny chrome bumper. One afternoon, while playing with his cars, Alex made a wish. He wished he could be small enough to ride in his toy car. Suddenly, a strange tingling sensation swept over him. Alex looked down and gasped. He was shrinking. He was now no bigger than his toy car. With a grin, he hopped into the driver's seat and turned the tiny key. The engine roared to life, and the car zoomed across the carpet. Alex navigated the living room, dodging furniture and zooming under chairs. He raced past his unsuspecting cat, who looked up in surprise as the tiny car sped by. The world looked so different from this perspective. The rug was like a vast green field, and the couch cushions were like towering mountains. Alex drove into the kitchen, carefully avoiding spilled milk and cookie crumbs. He parked his car next to a giant cookie and took a bite. It was the biggest cookie he had ever seen. As the sun began to set, Alex knew it was time to return to his normal size. He wished with all his might, and the tingling sensation returned. He grew bigger and bigger until he was back to his normal size. Alex looked at his toy car, a smile on his face. He had just had the most amazing adventure, all from the comfort of his own home. He had learned that sometimes, the most exciting journeys are the ones we take in our imagination.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Kitten's Icy Escapade. 3 mischievous kittens, Mittens, Boots, and Whiskers, loved exploring their surroundings. One day, they stumbled upon a large cardboard box in the garage. It looked like the perfect hiding spot for a game of hide-and-seek. They snuggled into the cozy box, giggling and chasing each other's tails. But while they were playing, a delivery truck arrived. The driver, not seeing the kittens inside, picked up the box and loaded it onto his truck. The kittens were terrified as the truck rumbled down the road. They meowed and scratched at the box, but no one heard them. After what felt like forever, the truck finally stopped. The kittens peeked out and gasped. They were surrounded by snow and ice. A friendly penguin waddled over, curious about the new arrivals. The kittens explained their predicament, and the penguin, named Pip, decided to help. He led them to his igloo, where they warmed up and shared a fishy feast. Pip told them about the North Pole, its icy wonders, and the beautiful northern lights. The kittens were fascinated by this new world, but they also missed their home. Pip promised to help them find a way back. The next day, Pip led the kittens to a research station. The scientists were surprised to see 3 kittens in the Arctic, but they were happy to help. They contacted the kittens' owners, who were overjoyed to hear they were safe. A few days later, the kittens were reunited with their family. They had learned a valuable lesson about exploring safely and the importance of asking for help when lost. But most importantly, they had made a new friend, Pip the penguin, who taught them that kindness and compassion can be found even in the coldest places.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Little Seed's Big Dream. In a sun-drenched garden, a tiny seed snuggled in the warm earth. This seed had a big dream, to reach the bright blue sky. One spring day, a gentle rain shower fell. The seed felt a tickle as it began to grow. It stretched its roots deeper into the soil, searching for food and water. A tiny sprout pushed its way up towards the sunlight. The sprout grew taller each day, unfurling 2 tiny green leaves. The leaves soaked up the sunshine, helping the plant grow stronger. Soon, more leaves appeared, reaching for the sky like outstretched arms. One sunny morning, the plant felt a new excitement. A beautiful flower bud emerged, its petals tightly closed. The bud slowly opened, revealing colorful petals that shimmered in the sunlight. The little seed had transformed into a beautiful flower, reaching for the sky just as it had dreamed. It shared its sweet fragrance and bright colors with all the creatures of the garden.
And Android for free.
The Little Star. Once upon a time, in the night sky, there was a tiny star named Twinkle. Twinkle loved to shine brightly and make people smile. One night, Twinkle noticed a sad little girl looking up at the sky. Twinkle decided to twinkle even brighter just for her. The girl saw Twinkle's bright light and felt happy. She waved at Twinkle and Twinkle twinkled back. From that night on, Twinkle and the little girl were special friends. Every night, Twinkle shone her brightest, and the girl smiled up at her. One day, Twinkle saw the girl with her family. They were having a picnic under the stars. Twinkle twinkled extra brightly to show she was happy for them. The girl pointed at Twinkle and told her family about her special star friend. They all waved at Twinkle, and Twinkle twinkled back joyfully. Years went by, and the little girl grew up. She never forgot Twinkle, her special star. Whenever she felt sad or lonely, she would look up at the sky, and Twinkle would be there, shining brightly just for her. Twinkle knew that no matter how much time passed, they would always be friends under the starry sky.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Little Wishing Cloud. High above the sleepy village of Willowbrook, a tiny cloud named Nimbus drifted lazily across the sky. Unlike the big, fluffy clouds that brought rain, Nimbus was small and wispy, often overlooked by the villagers below. One day, as Nimbus floated along, he heard a little girl named Lily singing a sad song. She wished for a friend to play with, but everyone was too busy. Nimbus felt a pang of sympathy. He wanted to help. Gathering all his strength, Nimbus puffed himself up and transformed into a giant, fluffy rabbit made of cloud. He bounced down to Lily, his soft fur brushing against her cheek. Lily gasped in delight, her eyes wide with wonder. They spent the whole afternoon playing together, their laughter echoing through the fields. As the sun began to set, Nimbus knew he couldn't stay. He slowly drifted back into the sky, transforming back into a wispy cloud. But Lily wasn't sad. She knew her new friend would always be watching over her, ready to come down and play whenever she needed a smile. From that day on, Nimbus became the village's guardian cloud. Whenever someone felt lonely or sad, Nimbus would appear in a different form, bringing joy and laughter to Willowbrook.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Lost Kitten. Once upon a time, there was a little kitten named Mia. She lived with her family in a cozy house. One sunny day, Mia decided to explore the garden. She saw a butterfly and chased it. Mia ran and ran until she reached the edge of the garden. She looked around and realized she was lost. Mia felt scared and lonely. She meowed loudly, hoping someone would hear her. A friendly dog named Max heard Mia's cries. Max followed the sound and found Mia under a bush. "Are you lost?" Max asked. Mia nodded, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't worry," Max said. "I'll help you find your way home." Max and Mia walked together through the neighborhood. They asked other animals if they had seen Mia's house. A wise old owl pointed them in the right direction. Mia and Max followed the owl's directions and soon saw Mia's house in the distance. Mia's family was outside, calling her name. Mia ran to her family, and they hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Max," Mia's family said. Max wagged his tail happily. Mia was safe and sound at home, thanks to her new friend. She learned that adventure was fun, but home was the best place to be.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Curious Little Monkey. In a lush jungle, lived a curious little monkey named Koko. Koko loved to swing from vine to vine, exploring every corner of his home. One day, Koko stumbled upon a hidden clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a giant tree, with fruits he had never seen before. The fruits shimmered with vibrant colors, and their sweet scent filled the air. Koko's curiosity got the better of him. He swung over to the tree and carefully picked a fruit. It was soft and juicy, and its flavor was unlike anything he had ever tasted. Koko shared the delicious fruits with his friends, and they all agreed that they were the most amazing discovery ever. They named the clearing the Secret Fruit Garden and promised to keep it a secret from the other jungle animals. From that day on, Koko and his friends would visit the secret fruit garden every day, enjoying the sweet, colorful treats and creating memories that would last a lifetime.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The secret door behind the oak tree. Leo loved playing in his backyard. He climbed the old oak tree, built forts out of fallen branches, and dug for buried treasure. But one day, while chasing his dog, Sparky, Leo noticed something new. Behind the oak tree, hidden among the leaves and roots, was a small, glowing door. Leo, filled with curiosity, slowly opened the door. It creaked open, revealing a swirling vortex of colors. Leo took a deep breath and stepped through the door. He felt a tingling sensation all over his body, and then, suddenly, he was somewhere else. The world around Leo was different. The sky was a vibrant shade of purple, and the trees had shimmering silver leaves. Leo saw strange creatures he had never seen before, like fluffy bunnies with rainbow tails and butterflies as big as birds. Leo explored this new world with wonder. He followed a winding path that led to a crystal-clear lake where he met a group of friendly fairies who invited him to their tea party. Leo spent the rest of the day playing games and laughing with his new fairy friends. As the sun began to set, Leo knew it was time to go home. He hugged his fairy friends goodbye and promised to visit them again. He stepped back through the glowing door, feeling a familiar tingle, and found himself back in his backyard. The door disappeared behind the oak tree, leaving Leo to wonder if his adventure had all been a dream.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The secret door of room 12B. It was a rainy afternoon, and Sam was stuck in room 12B, waiting for the bell to ring. Bored, he started exploring the classroom, poking into corners and opening drawers. Behind the teacher's desk, he noticed a door he had never seen before. It was small and hidden behind a stack of books. Curiosity took over, and Sam slowly opened the door. It creaked on its hinges, revealing a narrow, dimly lit hallway. Sam hesitated for a moment, then stepped inside, his heart pounding with excitement. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever, its walls lined with dusty portraits and cobwebs. Sam cautiously followed the path, his footsteps echoing in the silence. As he walked, he noticed that the portraits were changing, morphing into strange and fantastical creatures. Suddenly, the hallway opened into a large, circular room. In the center stood a giant, glowing orb, pulsating with energy. Sam was mesmerized. He reached out to touch it, and the orb exploded with light, enveloping him in a warm embrace. When the light faded, Sam found himself back in room 12B. The bell was ringing, and his classmates were gathering their things. Sam blinked, wondering if he had dreamed the whole thing. He looked behind the teacher's desk, but the secret door was gone. Sam shrugged, a smile playing on his lips. He had experienced something extraordinary, something he would never forget. And even though he couldn't explain it, he knew that the magic of the hidden room would always be with him.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The loyal little fox. Fidget the fox lived in a den with her family. She loved to play and explore the forest with her siblings. One day, Fidget wandered off and got lost. She was scared and alone, with no idea how to get back home. Suddenly, she heard a familiar bark. It was her brother, Scout. He had been searching for her everywhere. Scout nudged Fidget gently and led her back to their den. Fidget felt safe and happy to be reunited with her family. From that day on, Fidget understood the importance of loyalty. She learned that family always looks out for each other and never gives up. Fidget became closer to her siblings and always stayed close by, never wandering off again. She learned that loyalty is a precious gift, and she cherished the bond she shared with her family. Fidget grew up to be a loyal and devoted member of her pack, always ready to help and support those she loved.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The Secret of Maple Lane. Lily, Max, and Sam were best friends who loved exploring their small town. One sunny afternoon, while playing in Lily's attic, they stumbled upon an old, dusty map hidden in a trunk. The map was marked with strange symbols and a big red X, hinting at a hidden treasure somewhere in their town. Excited by the mystery, the friends decided to follow the map and uncover the secret it held. They studied the map carefully, recognizing landmarks and deciphering the symbols. With their hearts pounding with anticipation, they set off on their treasure hunt. Following the map's directions, they wandered through hidden alleys, climbed over fences, and crossed a rickety old bridge. Along the way, they encountered a series of clues and puzzles, each one leading them closer to their goal. Finally, they arrived at the spot marked with the red X. It was a clearing in the woods behind the old library. The friends dug and dug, their shovels hitting something hard. With a final heave, they pulled out a small, wooden chest. Eagerly, they opened the chest to find it filled with old coins, antique jewelry, and a handwritten note. The note told the story of a kind old woman who had hidden her most precious belongings to share with those who were curious and adventurous enough to find them. The friends looked at each other with wide smiles. They had not only found a treasure but also discovered the value of friendship, teamwork, and the joy of exploration.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The time-traveling treehouse. Emily, Ben, and Jake were best friends who loved exploring the woods behind their houses. One day, they stumbled upon a hidden clearing with a giant oak tree. To their amazement, they discovered a ladder leading up to a treehouse. As they climbed inside, they found it filled with strange gadgets and buttons. Curiosity got the better of them, and they accidentally pressed a big red button. Suddenly, the treehouse started to shake and whirl, lifting off the ground. The scenery below changing rapidly. They realized they were traveling through time. The friends landed in a prehistoric jungle, then in ancient Egypt, and even visited the future. They met dinosaurs, pharaohs, and robots. They had incredible adventures, narrowly escaping a T-Rex, helping a queen build a pyramid, and attending a hoverboard race in the year 3023. Each adventure taught them something new about history, culture, and the importance of friendship. They learned to work together, solve problems, and appreciate the different eras they visited. After a thrilling journey, they found their way back to their own time, landing safely in the clearing where they had started. They kept their time-traveling treehouse a secret, but they would always cherish the memories of their extraordinary adventures.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
The truth about Timmy's trophy. Timmy was excited about the upcoming baseball tournament. He wanted to win a trophy more than anything. During a practice game, he hit a ball that flew high and far. Everyone cheered, thinking it was a home run. But Timmy knew the truth. The ball had actually landed just outside the field. He hesitated for a moment, tempted to claim the home run. But deep down, he knew it wasn't right. With a sigh, Timmy admitted that the ball was foul. His teammates were disappointed, but they understood. The tournament arrived, and Timmy's team played their best. In the final inning, Timmy was up to bat. The score was tied, and they needed one more run to win. Timmy swung with all his might, and the ball soared through the air. It cleared the fence, a true home run. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Timmy's teammates rushed to congratulate him. He held the trophy high, his heart bursting with pride. He had earned it honestly, and that made the victory even sweeter. Timmy learned a valuable lesson that day. Honesty may not always be easy, but it's always the right thing to do. And in the end, the truth always comes out, bringing with it a sense of accomplishment and pride that no life could ever match.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Timmy in the Whispering Zoo. Timmy loved animals more than anything in the world. He would spend hours watching nature documentaries and reading books about different creatures. One day, while exploring the woods behind his house, Timmy stumbled upon a hidden path. Curious, he followed the path and it led him to a clearing where he found a strange, old gate. Timmy pushed open the gate and stepped inside. To his amazement, he found himself in a beautiful zoo filled with animals he had never seen before. But what surprised him most was that the animals could talk. A wise old owl greeted Timmy and told him that this was the Whispering Zoo, a secret place where animals could live in peace and express themselves freely. Timmy spent the whole day talking to the animals, learning about their lives and sharing stories. He met a playful panda who loved to tell jokes, a graceful giraffe who taught him about the importance of standing tall, and a brave lion who shared his wisdom about courage. Timmy even got to ride on the back of a giant turtle who took him on a tour of the zoo. As the sun began to set, Timmy knew it was time to go home. He promised the animals that he would keep their secret and come back to visit them soon. With a heart full of joy and a head full of new knowledge, Timmy left the Whispering Zoo, knowing that he had made friends he would cherish forever.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Timmy's Dinosaur Adventure. One rainy afternoon, Timmy was exploring his attic when he stumbled upon a strange device. It was shaped like an egg, with flashing lights and buttons. A note taped to it read, "Time Machine." Timmy's eyes widened with excitement. Could this really be a time machine? He cautiously pressed a button, and the machine whirred to life. The lights flashed brighter, and a strange sensation tingled through his body. Suddenly, Timmy found himself in a dense jungle. The air was warm and humid, and the sounds of unfamiliar creatures filled his ears. He looked around and gasped in amazement. A giant dinosaur was lumbering through the trees, its massive feet shaking the ground with each step. Timmy had traveled back in time to the age of dinosaurs. He watched in awe as the dinosaur munched on leaves, its long neck swaying like a tree branch. He saw flying reptiles soaring overhead and heard the distant roar of a predator. Timmy cautiously explored his surroundings, taking care to avoid the dangerous creatures lurking in the shadows. He discovered fossilized footprints, ancient plants, and even a dinosaur egg nestled in a nest. As the sun began to set, Timmy knew it was time to return home. He climbed back into the time machine and pressed the button. The world swirled around him, and he found himself back in the attic. Timmy couldn't believe what he had experienced. He had traveled through time and seen the world as it was millions of years ago. He knew that he would never forget his amazing dinosaur adventure.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Timmy's Toy Treasure Hunt. Timmy loved his toys. He had a whole room filled with them: cars, trains, blocks, and stuffed animals. Every day, he would spend hours playing with them, creating imaginary worlds and going on exciting adventures. One day, Timmy was playing with his favorite toy, a little red fire truck named Sparky. They were racing around the room when suddenly, Sparky disappeared. Timmy searched everywhere, but he couldn't find his beloved fire truck. Timmy was heartbroken. He didn't know what to do without Sparky. He looked under the bed, behind the couch, and even in the toy box, but Sparky was nowhere to be found. Feeling determined, Timmy decided to go on a treasure hunt to find Sparky. He followed a trail of clues, starting with a wheel track on the carpet, then a tiny red paint smudge on the wall. The clues led him to his closet, where he found a forgotten box filled with old toys. Timmy rummaged through the box, his heart pounding with hope. And there, nestled between a teddy bear and a toy robot, was Sparky. Timmy was overjoyed. He hugged Sparky tight and promised never to lose him again. From that day on, Timmy cherished his toys even more. He realized that each one was special and brought him joy. He learned that even though things might get lost sometimes, with a little effort and determination, they can always be found.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Tommy the turtle learns to swim. In a tranquil pond, there lived a young turtle named Tommy. Tommy loved watching his friends swim gracefully through the water, but he felt nervous about learning to swim himself. One sunny morning, Tommy's best friend, Penny the frog, hopped over to him. "Come on, Tommy. I'll teach you to swim," Penny said with a big smile. Tommy hesitated but then nodded, trusting his friend. Penny showed Tommy how to paddle with his flippers. "Just like this," she said, demonstrating the smooth, gentle movements. Tommy mimicked Penny, feeling the water flow around his flippers. At first, Tommy wobbled and drifted sideways. "Don't worry," Penny encouraged, "it takes practice." With Penny's patient guidance, Tommy tried again and again. Each time, he grew a bit more confident. Finally, after many tries, Tommy swam in a straight line. He glided through the water, his flippers moving gracefully. "I'm doing it," he cheered, filled with joy. Penny clapped her webbed feet in delight. Now, Tommy swam everywhere with his friends, exploring the pond and discovering new wonders. He realized that with a bit of courage and practice, he could do anything he set his mind to.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Tommy's doghouse dream. Tommy loved his dog, Sparky, more than anything. They played fetch in the park, chased squirrels in the yard, and cuddled up on the couch. But Tommy noticed that Sparky didn't have a cozy place to call his own. One sunny afternoon, Tommy decided to build Sparky a doghouse. He gathered all the materials he could find, leftover wood from his dad's workshop, rusty nails, and even an old blanket for the floor. Tommy worked hard, sawing, hammering, and painting. He measured carefully, making sure the doghouse was big enough for Sparky to stretch out comfortably. He even added a little porch so Sparky could enjoy the sunshine. Finally, after days of hard work, the doghouse was finished. It was painted a bright red, with Sparky's name proudly displayed above the door. Tommy led Sparky to his new home, his heart filled with pride. Sparky wagged his tail excitedly and immediately hopped inside. He curled up on the soft blanket, a look of pure contentment on his face. Tommy smiled, knowing that he had created a special place for his best friend. That night, as Tommy lay in bed, he listened to the gentle snoring coming from the doghouse. He felt a warmth spread through his heart, knowing that Sparky was safe and happy in his new home.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.
Zippy's Savannah Sprint. Zippy the zebra was known for his speed. He loved to race across the vast African plains, his black and white stripes blurring as he ran. One sunny morning, Zippy's curiosity led him further from home than ever before. He sprinted past tall grasses and acacia trees, the wind whipping through his mane. He encountered a group of giraffes munching on leaves high above, their long necks swaying like gentle giants. Zippy greeted them with a friendly whinny, then continued on his adventure. He came across a watering hole where elephants were splashing and playing, trumpeting with joy. Zippy watched with wide eyes, admiring their strength and grace. He longed to join them but knew his spindly legs were better suited for running. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and purple, Zippy felt a pang of homesickness. He had seen so many amazing things, but he missed his family and friends. Zippy turned around and started the long journey back. He ran faster than ever before, his heart filled with the memories of his adventure. As he reached his herd, his mother nuzzled him warmly, and his friends gathered around to hear his tales. Zippy realized that even though exploring new places was exciting, there's no place like home. He was grateful for the familiar sights and sounds of the savannah, and for the love and support of his family and friends.
Stories with Barry. Download app for iOS and Android for free.